Hey everybody, welcome to the Leader Lab. This is Leadership Shorts, quick thoughts to help you level up your leadership. My name is Chad Wright. I'm the founder of Forward Partners. I am joined by my partner in podcasting, Emily Deal. I left out the middle name today. I don't know why. Emily, what are we talking about today?
I have a quote for you today.
Okay.
Leaders must either invest a reasonable amount of time attending to fears and feelings or squander an unreasonable amount of time trying to manage ineffective and unproductive behavior. Said by Brené Brown.
By Dr. Brené Brown, which, by the way, no one has connected us with her yet to be able to get her on our podcast. So I'm a little disappointed in people listening to this that no one has a connection with Brené Brown, but we're still waiting for it. So let's talk about this quote. So it's funny. We wrestle with so many interpersonal issues, right?
Mm-hmm.
The organizations we work with, the leadership development we do, so much of it is around we don't know how to lead people.
Right.
It's because people are wildly complex.
Right.
And we really, in an ideal world, we would love the idea of we just show up, everyone does their job, there's no conflict, there's no hurt feelings, there's no any of that. But that's not reality, is it?
I think we start from the baseline of assuming that the reasonable, unreasonable piece, right? That
Yes.
It's like, oh, I shouldn't have to deal with that stuff.
Exactly.
And so it's just ignored.
Yeah.
It's like, it will go away. They're adults. They can deal with it.
Yeah.
No, like we are
No.
adults and we all still have emotions and
Yes.
feelings and fears. And
Yeah.
we all come from a place where that exists. So
Yeah.
we have to invest in it and not just pretend it doesn't exist at all.
And that's the problem is it's hard for us to wrestle through those things.
Mm-hmm.
We're not usually equipped to do it. And so often as leaders, we will avoid that piece of it.
Yeah.
Just, I'm not going to deal with your emotions. Just show up, check the box, do the job. But then it creates all these massive problems.
1,000%. Yeah.
And I love what she's talking about. Hey, invest a reasonable amount of time in fears and feelings and emotion and the human side of things. Otherwise, you're going to invest an unreasonable amount of time in all the problems it creates.
Yeah, and I think that's important to note, that reasonable and unreasonable on both sides, right? We don't have
Yeah.
to invest an unreasonable amount of time ahead of time to
No.
fix it all. We just have to do a reasonable
Yep.
amount to make sure we kind of have a baseline of
Yeah.
of help acknowledging fears and feelings exist.
They are there.
And they are going to be a part of the work environment no matter
Yes.
what you do.
Yep.
And that way you're fixing that so you don't have to do it on the
Yeah.
other side of it.
Yeah, you're creating space for them.
Mhm.
And I think that's a lot of time. A lot of this eventually boils down to misunderstandings, right? I felt like you intended to hurt me when you said that thing. Well, did you really? Probably not. But that was the feeling. And so when we create space for that discussion, we equip our people with the ability to talk about these things and to say, hey, Carl, I'm on a Carl kick today. I don't know what that's about. Hey, Carl, you said this thing about my latest project and it really hurt. Oh, I didn't mean to. I apologize. And we can wrestle through that real quick. That's a 5-minute conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Versus me developing a deep-seated hatred of
I'm
Carl.
going to talk to every single person.
I'm going to go tell everybody about what.
office
Can
about
you believe
Carl.
what Carl did? Oh my! I'm going to kill Carl. Like,
yes.
that's not helpful.
And
That-
unreasonable, right?
it's right. It's not helpful. It's not reasonable, and it creates all these problems. And yet, I
Yeah.
encounter that all the time.
Yeah.
And so, as leaders, I think if we can embrace this idea, it really helps us head off a lot of problems at the pass, and it helps us just that understanding, right? That this is a thing that is going to happen, and we better get good at this.
Right.
It is not, we don't live in the age anymore when you can just look somebody in the eye and say, well, just suck it up and just move on. That doesn't happen. I don't think it ever really happened. I don't think it ever really worked, but we thought it did. We
You
pretended
mean
it
rub
did.
some dirt on it?
Yeah, just rub some dirt on it. You'll be fine. Get up, dust it off, just go, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't work. And I think we've found out over the years how unworkable that is. And now we've got to take a different approach in leadership. And so I mean, we love Brené's work anyway, but this quote specifically, the idea of let's invest a reasonable amount of time, just, it makes so much sense. And so, so I think that's something to think about in your leadership as you are wrestling with your people is creating space for their fear, creating space for their feelings and their emotions, and understand that we're not employing robots. We are employing human beings, and they are going to require a lot of extra care. They're going to require a lot of extra work to grow. It is not magically going to happen. So the more you can invest a reasonable amount of time and decide what that reasonable looks like, invest a reasonable amount of time in these things, you are going to save yourself so much heartache on the back end of that. All right, I love talking about quotes by Brené. If anyone has any other quotes they would like us to talk about or any questions or connections to Brene Brown that they
Sure.
want to send us. Where do they send those to?
They can send them to lab@forwardpartners.net.
lab@forwardpartners.net. Brene, you can also just reach out directly. We're fine with that. If everybody wants to follow our insanity on the socials, where would they find us?
At Forward Partner.
At Forward Partner. All right. Thank you for this discussion. Thank you for bringing this quote to the table. I love it. Ben, thank you for producing Wilco Workspaces. Thank you for partnering with us on this podcast. We will see you next time right here in the Leader Lab for Leadership Shorts.